your daughter Lola, she's 12, right?
Yeah.
Jason Momoa's daughter, Lola Iolani Momoa, has finally broken her silence.
Jason Momoa, the formidable, larger-than-life Hollywood icon, is known for his warrior spirit, but nothing could prepare him for this emotional moment. When his beloved daughter undergoes a stunning and unexpected transformation, the Aquaman star is left entirely speechless, and then the tears start flowing. It's raw, heartfelt, and absolutely beautiful to watch. What happened that moved this fierce protector to tears, and why is the internet buzzing over his reaction? Stay tuned, because you won't believe what happens next. The tough warrior with a soft heart. For his daughter, Hollywood has a way of shaping our perception of actors, especially those who play larger-than-life roles. When we think of Jason Momoa, we picture a towering warrior, an unstoppable force, a man who can wield a trident or command armies with just a glance. His roles in Aquaman and Game of Thrones have made him an icon of strength and masculinity, admired for his rugged charisma and fearless energy. But behind the battle scars and warrior's roar, there lies a tender-hearted father, one who melts at the sight of his daughter growing up before his eyes. Recently, a deeply emotional moment between Jason Momoa and his daughter, Lola Iolani Momoa, touched hearts across the internet. It was a side of him the world rarely sees, the vulnerable, unguarded father who, despite his larger-than-life image, found himself overwhelmed by the passage of time and the changes unfolding in his little girl's life. When Jason Momoa became a father, his world changed forever. He has always been a man of intensity and passion, but nothing prepared him for the depth of love, responsibility, and devotion he would feel toward his children. From the moment he held Lola in his arms, he vowed to protect, cherish, and guide her through life. Unlike his tough guy roles, Jason at home was playful and affectionate, a dad who braided his daughter's hair, took her on adventures in nature, and encouraged her to explore her own strengths and passions. His social media often offered glimpses of their beautiful father-daughter relationship, moments filled with laughter, joy, and unconditional love. Recently, Jason found himself in a moment that every parent dreads and cherishes, the realization that his little girl was no longer so little. As he watched Lola step into a new chapter of her life, something inside him cracked. Maybe it was seeing her take on a new challenge, or perhaps it was the way she carried herself with newfound confidence. Whatever it was, the moment hit Jason hard. The unstoppable warrior, the fierce protector, was suddenly just a father watching time slip through his fingers. His reaction was pure, raw, and deeply moving. He fought back tears, overwhelmed by the emotions every parent feels, the pride of seeing their child grow, and the ache of knowing that they are slowly stepping into their own world, one where they may not need you as much as before. Fans were captivated by Jason's authenticity. In an industry where toughness is celebrated, he embraced his vulnerability, showing that even the strongest men are soft when it comes to their children. His story resonated because it was universal, the reminder that no matter how famous, powerful, or successful someone may be, parenthood humbles us all. It brings out our deepest emotions, our most unguarded moments, and teaches us that true strength is not in muscles or power, but in love and letting go. Jason Momoa is a warrior on screen, but in real life, he is just a dad, one who loves fiercely, feels deeply, and isn't afraid to show the world that his greatest role will always be fatherhood. Let's take a glance at his presence in his daughter's life. Raising a princess in Hollywood. On July 23, 2007, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet welcomed their daughter, Lola Iolani Momoa, into the world. From the moment she was born, her name carried deep meaning. Lola, chosen for its soft and beautiful sound, while Iolani, meaning royal hawk in Hawaiian, honored Jason's Polynesian heritage. Becoming a father to Lola wasn't just a new chapter for Jason, it was a transformation, shifting his perspective on life, love, and purpose. Unlike many celebrity children raised in the constant glare of Hollywood's flashing lights, Lola's upbringing was refreshingly different. Jason and Lisa were determined to keep their children away from excessive media attention, choosing instead to immerse them in nature, adventure, and cultural heritage. Their home in Topanga Canyon, far removed from the noise of Los Angeles, was more than just a place to live. It was a sanctuary, surrounded by animals, music, and the freedom of open skies. Jason, known for his wild and free-spirited nature, wanted his daughter to experience life beyond luxury. From a young age, Lola was encouraged to climb trees, ride horses, and embrace Hawaiian traditions. Unlike many children of the rich and famous whose lives are shaped by privilege and careful curation, Lola was raised to be fearless, curious, and adventurous. Even before her 5th birthday, Lola was already joining her father on movie sets, not as a future star but as a child, simply soaking in the energy of her father's world. When Jason was filming Game of Thrones, she visited him on set, completely unfazed by his transformation into Khal Drogo. To the rest of the world, he was an intimidating warlord, but to Lola, he was just Dad, the man who tucked her in at night, played guitar with her, and made her laugh. As she grew older, her bond with Jason only deepened. He wanted to raise a daughter who was strong, independent, and connected to nature. Their adventures together evolved into more challenging activities: rock climbing, skateboarding, and surfing, designed to build her confidence and resilience. But Jason's focus wasn't just on physical strength. He also nurtured her creativity, introducing her to music and the guitar. By the time she was 8, they were having jam sessions at home, filling their days with music and laughter. Lola Iolani Momoa is not just the daughter of a famous actor. She is a young girl raised with adventure in her heart, strength in her spirit, and creativity in her soul. Her parents shaped her world to prioritize family, culture, and a deep respect for nature. Through her father's guidance, she has learned that true wealth isn't measured in money or fame, but in experiences, love, and the courage to be yourself. And in Jason Momoa's eyes, that is the greatest legacy he could ever give his daughter. But as she transitions into adolescence, Jason Momoa could hardly bear the pain of seeing unexpected changes in his little princess. Let's dig into the details of the pains of fatherhood as experienced by Jason Momoa. The growing pains of fatherhood. As Lola transitioned from a carefree child to a blossoming teenager, Jason Momoa found himself facing the inevitable reality that every loving parent dreads. His little girl was growing up too fast. The days of carrying her on his shoulders and being the center of her world were fading, making way for a new chapter filled with independence and self-discovery. By 2018, at just 11 years old, Lola was no longer the shy child clinging to her father's side. Her first major public appearance at the Aquaman premiere was a defining moment. She stood confidently beside Jason, engaging with reporters with a poise that surprised even him. It was a bittersweet sight for Jason, who felt both immense pride and the quiet heartache of realizing she was no longer the tiny girl who once looked up at him with wide, innocent eyes. She was finding her voice, her identity, and her place in the world. Like any protective father, Jason wanted to shield his daughter from the challenges that came with growing up, especially under the scrutiny of the public eye. However, he understood that his role wasn't to shelter her, but to equip her with the strength and skills to face life's hurdles. With that in mind, he enrolled her in self-defense classes, emphasizing the importance of both physical protection and inner confidence. Jason's goal was never just to teach her how to defend herself. It was about building resilience and self-assurance, qualities that would serve her in every aspect of life. And Lola was growing into a person who not only embraced strength, but also shared her father's deep-rooted passions. During this time, her love for the ocean flourished, forging an even stronger bond between them. Jason, a committed environmental activist, had always championed ocean conservation, and now Lola was right by his side in the fight to protect marine life. Together, they participated in beach cleanups, conservation projects, and environmental awareness events, with Lola even speaking at youth forums to advocate for the planet. Watching his daughter step into a leadership role filled Jason with pride. She wasn't just growing up, she was growing into someone determined, compassionate, and fearless. Yet, as every parent knows, adolescence brings change. As Lola formed deeper friendships outside her family and carved out her own world, Jason's demanding career kept him traveling for long stretches. The physical distance was challenging, but Jason refused to let it weaken their bond. To stay connected, he got creative. Virtual movie nights became their tradition. Wherever he was in the world, they would sync up the same film and video chat during it. It was his way of ensuring she always felt his presence, no matter the miles between them. Then came 2020, and with it, an unexpected gift. The COVID-19 pandemic put the world on pause, and for the first time in years, Jason had months of uninterrupted time with Lola. They laughed, cooked, played games, and simply enjoyed each other's company, cherishing the time they rarely had. He knew these moments were fleeting, but he held on to them, knowing that before long she would be carving her own path in the world. As he watched his daughter transition from a little girl to a strong, independent young woman, he felt the universal emotions of every father: pride, nostalgia, and the bittersweet ache of time slipping away. But one thing was certain: no matter how much she grew, he would always be her protector, her biggest fan, and the one who would find a way to keep their bond unbreakable. At this point, Jason could no longer hold back his tears, as his carefree little girl had become a young woman. Let's take a closer look at the moment that changed everything, the moment that brought tears to the eyes of the warrior. The moment that changed everything. By 2023, Jason Momoa was faced with a reality he had long tried to ignore. His 16-year-old daughter Lola was no longer a little girl. She was becoming a confident, intelligent young woman, and while that filled him with pride, it also tugged at his heart in ways he hadn't expected. The moment that truly made this hit home came during a family gathering. As laughter echoed through the house, Lola descended the stairs, ready for a special event. Jason turned, expecting to see the wide-eyed child who used to cling to his hand. Instead, he saw a poised and graceful young woman carrying herself with quiet strength. She was nearly as tall as him now, exuding confidence in a way that caught him off guard. Jason reflected on this later, saying, "It wasn't just how she carried herself. It was hearing her talk about climate policy, seeing how she handled tough conversations. I knew she didn't need me in the same way anymore, and that hit me hard." That moment was only the beginning. As Jason accompanied Lola to the premiere of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, he found himself in awe once again. Cameras flashed, reporters fired questions, and amid all the Hollywood chaos, Lola stood calm and composed. A journalist asked about her future plans. Instinctively, Jason prepared to jump in and answer for her, but before he could, Lola confidently took the microphone herself. She spoke passionately about sustainable fashion and marine conservation, two causes she had developed on her own, but were clearly shaped by her upbringing. She laid out her hopes for the future, her commitment to making an impact, and her desire to use her voice for positive change. Jason stood beside her, visibly moved. He had spent years guiding her, teaching her about resilience, strength, and the world. Now, she was stepping into it on her own terms, no longer just his little girl, but a force in her own right. But of all the milestones that tested Jason's ability to let go, Lola's first boyfriend was by far the hardest. For years, he had joked about scaring off potential suitors, always playing the role of the overprotective dad. But when the moment actually arrived, a young boy knocking on their door, asking to take Lola out, Jason found himself completely unprepared. "When the first boy came to our house, I became this person I didn't recognize." He later laughed while recalling the moment on the Kelly Clarkson show. "I froze. My wife had to remind me to breathe." It was a battle between instinct and reason. He wanted to be the cool, supportive dad, but deep down, every fiber of his being screamed to protect his little girl. Still, Jason knew he had to embrace this new phase of fatherhood. He reminded himself that he had raised her well, that she was strong, and that she had the wisdom to make good choices. Determined to support Lola in every way, Jason made an effort to celebrate her individuality. When she asked for blue streaks in her hair for her birthday, he didn't just say yes, he dyed matching streaks in his own hair, standing beside her proudly as they showed off their new look together. For Jason, fatherhood was never about control. It was about guidance, love, and knowing when to step back. He had spent years protecting her, shaping her, and helping her navigate childhood. Now he was watching her become her own person. It was bittersweet, but also one of the most rewarding experiences of his life. Jason knew there would be more moments like these, times when he'd have to let go a little more, trust her a little more, and remind himself that she would always be his daughter, no matter how much she grew. Somewhere deep down, he still saw the little girl who used to ride on his shoulders, who giggled at his jokes, who looked up at him with wide, trusting eyes. But now, he also saw a young woman, ready to take on the world, and though it ached to watch her grow, he wouldn't trade it for anything. Jason Momoa's parenting is one that should be emulated by many professional fathers who are absent in the lives of their children. Let's take a dive into the details of Jason Momoa's early life. Perhaps he was raised in a similar way. The origins of Jason Momoa, from Hawaiian roots to Hollywood heights. Born on August 1, 1979, in the tropical paradise of Honolulu, Hawaii, Jason Momoa came into the world as the only child of two creative and artistic parents. His mother, Connie Lemke, was a passionate photographer, capturing life through her lens, while his father, Joseph Momoa, expressed his artistic side as a painter. Jason's heritage was a rich blend of cultures. His father's lineage was deeply rooted in native Hawaiian traditions, while his mother's ancestry traced back to German, Irish, and Pawnee origins. This unique mix of backgrounds would later influence Jason's rugged yet charismatic personality, blending the warrior spirit of Polynesian culture with the free-spirited nature of his European and Native American roots. However, Jason's childhood took a significant turn early on. Shortly after his birth, his parents divorced and his mother made the life-altering decision to move to Norwalk, Iowa, far from the sun-kissed beaches of Hawaii. It was in this quiet, Midwestern town that Jason would spend most of his formative years, growing up in an environment vastly different from the island home of his ancestors. Moving to Iowa meant trading ocean waves for rolling farmlands, but Jason quickly adapted to his new surroundings. He was raised by his strong-willed mother, who encouraged his curiosity and adventurous spirit. Life in Norwalk was simple, but Jason found ways to keep himself entertained, developing an early interest in sports, nature, and outdoor activities. During his time at Norwalk High School, he wasn't just another student. He was an athlete with a competitive edge. He joined the school's soccer team, where he played alongside another future Hollywood star, Brandon Routh, who would later become known for playing Superman in Superman Returns. Though he thrived in sports, Jason always felt a pull towards something greater, a calling that went beyond the Midwest. His Hawaiian roots remained close to his heart, and he eventually made his way back to the Pacific by enrolling at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. It seemed like a step toward reconnecting with his heritage, but destiny had other plans for him. Even as a teenager, Jason had a rebellious and adventurous streak. He wasn't content with just school and sports. He longed for challenges that pushed his physical and mental limits. His mother, sensing his need for adventure, introduced him to something that would become a lifelong passion: rock climbing. A trip to Custer State Park in South Dakota would change his life forever. The park, home to the breathtaking Sylvan Lake and the towering Needles rock formations, became the backdrop for Jason's first climbing experiences. The thrill of scaling rugged cliffs, the rush of gripping onto jagged rocks, and the sheer test of endurance awakened something within him. He quickly became obsessed with bouldering, a form of rock climbing that requires raw strength and precision without the aid of ropes. This love for conquering nature's obstacles would later shape his on-screen presence. Whether swinging a sword as Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones or commanding the ocean as Aquaman, his physicality and warrior-like persona seemed deeply rooted in his real-life experiences as an adventurer and athlete. Jason Momoa's childhood and teenage years were filled with unexpected twists, from being born in sunny Hawaii to growing up in the heartland of America, to rediscovering his wild side in the rugged landscapes of South Dakota. Though he didn't know it at the time, every experience, the athleticism, the cultural influences, the adventurous spirit, was preparing him for a career that would one day make him a global icon. Little did the world know that this kid from Iowa with Hawaiian roots would soon rise to become one of Hollywood's most recognizable and beloved action stars. Although Jason Momoa became emotional after he noticed how much his daughter had changed, he made a heartfelt promise to her. What did he say? Let's find out. The heartfelt promise of a father. As Lola Iolani Momoa steps further into adulthood, one thing remains constant: Her father, Jason Momoa, is her biggest champion, known for his towering presence, fearless action roles, and daring stunts. Momoa has faced countless physical challenges in his career, yet when it comes to fatherhood, he admits that no mountain he has ever climbed compares to the emotional weight of watching his daughter grow up. On Lola's 16th birthday, Momoa took to Instagram to share a deeply personal tribute, one that resonated with parents everywhere, alongside a collection of heartwarming photos capturing her transformation. Over the years, he wrote words that revealed the vulnerable side of a man often seen as indestructible. "The greatest challenge of my life hasn't been climbing mountains or performing stunts. It's been learning to stand steady while watching you soar. Sometimes I hold on too tight, but I promise to keep trying to get it right." In those few lines, Momoa perfectly captured the bittersweet reality of parenting, the delicate balance between holding on and letting go. For a man accustomed to facing physical danger head-on, the emotional struggle of watching his child grow into her own person is something that leaves even him feeling unsteady. His words carried a universal truth. No matter how strong or fearless a parent may seem, the love for a child is humbling. It teaches patience, selflessness, and the courage to let them find their own way, even when every instinct screams to protect them. The tribute was more than just a birthday message. It was a reflection of the unbreakable bond between a father and daughter. It painted a picture of a dad who, despite his larger-than-life persona, feels the same fears, joys, and uncertainties that every parent experiences. He openly acknowledged his imperfections, his tendency to hold on too tightly, and his commitment to learning and growing alongside his child. In a world where tough action star fathers are often portrayed as unemotional or detached, Momoa's heartfelt words shattered that stereotype. He proved that true strength lies not just in physical power, but in the ability to love deeply, to let go when necessary, and to embrace the journey of parenthood with an open heart. As Lola continues to carve her own path, there is no doubt that her father will always be there, standing steady, watching proudly, and cheering her on every step of the way. What do you think about Jason Momoa's emotional moment with his grown daughter? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.